From Houston, Texas. Got Mix News presents The Mix Report, the podcast where you can stay in the mix with sports and entertainment news.
Welcome back, folks. Everyone, you're tuning into another episode of The Mix Report, where we blend hot topics, insightful analysis, and great takes. Today we're diving into a controversial debate once again about whether Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, yeah, we're talking boxing tonight, folks. We're talking, is Tyson overrated when considered the greatest of all time? But before we get into that, I want to let you know who I am. I'm T-Mix. I'm going to be your host for this evening. So I know some of you got fighters in your mind, you got boxers in your mind that you consider the GOAT. As always, we like for you all to get in the comments. You know, you give us your, what we're doing is we're doing the Mix Report top 6. We'll be chiming in on that a little later on, but who are your top 6 greatest of all time boxers? Yeah, we do a top 6 because we're different around here at the Mix Report. But we're going to get into it. Thanks for tuning in to our show tonight. But this topic really always sparks up a heated discussion in barbershops, on the street with your buddies, in the locker room with players, about who's the GOAT. And absolutely, there's no denying that Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, name always seems to come up in the GOAT conversation. He's truly deserving of that kind of title. A lot of folks want to know, is he overrated? Hold on, folks. We got action. A lot of folks always want to know, is he the GOAT? Is he deserving of the title? Is he overrated? And that's what we're here to do tonight. We're here to break it down. We're here to get into it. Mike Tyson's dominance in the ring during his prime was unbelievable, folks. His power, his ferociousness, it was unmatched. You get a chance to look at some of these clips. I got a chance to see it live, folks. I got a chance to watch him coming up as a youngster. Me and my dad used to sit and watch some of the greats. My dad would sit me down and we would just go over fights. My dad would give his opinion, and we would go from there. But does that alone make Mike Tyson the greatest of all time? Because he has a little power, because he has a little tenacity, because he has a serious mean streak when he gets in the ring. When Mike got to the ring, folks, fighters were shaking in their boots. You very seldomly found a boxer that wasn't afraid of him. So the $1 million question is, was Mike Tyson the GOAT? He had a great impact on the sport of boxing. He was a force to be reckoned with. There are several factors of why you can consider Mike the GOAT. One of them being consistency and the longevity of the sport. That's something that people really liked about him. But curveball, folks, the Mix Report, he's not in our top 6, you know. And this is why, folks. Like I touched on earlier, okay, he steps in the ring, he takes off his his shirt that he has on. The guns are going. He's sweating, but, he has that mean streak in his eye. And most of the guys that he fought back then were were shaking in their boots. They couldn't stay focused. They were afraid of his power. They were just flat scared. And folks, when you're scared like that, a lot of times you can get off track, lose focus, and not focus on the task at hand. And if you look back, you look this up. Guys that weren't afraid of Mike, like Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas wasn't afraid of Mike. Okay? Buster Douglas, there's no excuses in boxing, folks. Okay? You can use all the excuses you want and say Mike this, Mike that. Let me tell you something. Buster Douglas mustered up enough courage that night, and he busted Mike Tyson. Okay, James Buster Douglas busted up Mike Tyson that night. And see, folks, everyone has adversity. Everyone has something they're going through. But you can't use that when you get into a fight and you get busted up. Okay? And the thing is, I saw that night, I said, man, this guy right here, he wasn't playing. He was focused. And then another time I got a chance to see Mike live. I got a chance to see him against Evander, the real deal, Holyfield, folks. Okay? Mike Tyson versus Holyfield. Do you remember where you were when that fight was happening? Did you get a chance to see what was going on? Did you see the pre-fight hype? For those that don't know, Evander Holyfield was like a warrior. He was a warrior fighter. He wasn't afraid. He's going to, by any means necessary, he's going to try to win the fight. And that night, that build-up was crazy. Mike Tyson versus Holyfield. That's what people wanted to see. And Evander, the real deal Holyfield, folks, was taking every punch that Mike could deliver. A lot of people say, there's a lot of headbutting going on Holyfield's part. He used the ball head. He was real creative with button heads. But folks, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. All athletes are looking for an edge. They're looking for some type of edge. The only problem that night with Mike Tyson was, instead of looking for the edge, he was looking for the ear. Okay? When Mike got hit and he saw that he couldn't beat this guy. Folks, you've heard of taking a bite out of crime. Mike took a bite out of Evander's ear. Okay? And I don't know about you, but you're a different breed when you're going in, chewing on ears, biting somebody's finger. You're a little different. And Mike was disqualified that night for gnawing on a man's ear. And I believe he bit him twice. I ain't going to say you can justify biting him one time. But twice? I mean, we don't know if Mike wasn't eating, if he was on a different kind of diet. We don't know what Mike was going on. We didn't know what he was faced with going into that fight. He could have been looking forward to dinner that night. The problem I have with it is not what happens when things happen to you. That's not what determines an individual. It's what you do. And that night, what Mike did really showed that he couldn't handle the pressure that was being put on him. Biting that man's ear off, it's just no place for it. So he doesn't make the Mix Report top 6. But I want you to get an opportunity. We're gonna dive into it. We're going to look at some of these other legends in boxing history, like Muhammad Ali, Rocky Marciano, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson. Not only do you see dominance along these guys, but you're going to see the longevity in their career. Okay. Let's just take Muhammad Ali, for instance. He not only dominated, okay, Ali, he's my GOAT. He's number 1 right now. Greatest of all time. He not only transcended the sport, folks, but his activism, his charisma, the way he would predict rounds, knocking folks out, the way he would dive into your head, it was unmatched, folks. Muhammad Ali, I mean, at 6'4", 200 pounds, he simply was brilliant in that ring. 6'4" guy with the speed of a lightweight. I mean, and his punches would sting. You go back and look up, dive in that vault, and you pull up some of those fights with Smoking Joe Frazier, George Foreman. I mean, his craftiness. I mean, Muhammad Ali did what he had to do to win the bout. A lot of times, folks, when you're looking at these cases of fighters, it's what's inside. And Muhammad Ali definitely displayed that at a high level. We're going to dive in on another guy. He's number 2 right now for us. Young man named Rocky Marciano. Hey, Rocky, and I'm not talking about Balboa, folks. That was a movie, okay? Rocky Balboa was a movie. I know some of y'all don't know that, but yeah, I know Rocky Balboa's in the Hall of Fame, in the Boxing Hall of Fame, but that's one of my favorite movies as well, but that's not what we're talking about, folks. We're talking about real boxers, and Rocky Marciano retired undefeated, folks. 49-0, incredibly rare in boxing for a guy to go undefeated like that and then finish it off with one of the greatest bouts of all time against Joe Louis. It's rare. He was a rare breed. Let's move on. Number 3 on our list. They call him the Money Man. They call him Pretty Boy. Floyd Money Mayweather. He's number 3, folks. His defensive prowess and his businessman savvy, the way that he conducted business with making more money than any boxer of all time, solidifies his place in history of boxing. You know, the thing is, what I liked about Pretty Boy Floyd, if you look early in his career, Floyd was knocking folks out. He was laying folks down. And he had to he switched up his style a little bit to accommodate, to be able to, he wanted to last. He wanted a long career in boxing, but he didn't want to, so he had to get creative out there. So he created a different character. First he was Pretty Boy Floyd, and then he turned to Money Mayweather. He's one of our top 6 greatest of all time. How can we forget about Sugar Ray Leonard? Sugar Ray Leonard, folks, was simply exciting to watch, man. If you turn on some of those fights, what I liked about Sugar Ray Leonard was the fact that he didn't duck anybody. He fought everybody, and Thomas Hitman Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, the list goes on. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard fought everybody, folks. And he fought with a lot of pride, a lot of heart. He had the intangibles with the quick feet. He could move in and out of the pocket at a high level. He was definitely, some of y'all, you don't know who Sugar Ray Leonard is. You need to look him up. Look him up, see what he was all about. Look up some of those great bouts that he had. Joe Louis. Folks, Joe Louis was simply impressive. He had amazing longevity in his career, fought for a long period of time. He just dominated the sport. He just whooped guys coming and going. That's another guy you need to look up. Sugar Ray Robinson had his own unique style of dominance that he added to the sport. He was just flat amazing, and the savviness that he brought to the sport of boxing. But when you compare Mike Tyson's career to these legends, we can truly say he deserves to be considered in this list. But does he make our top 10? Oh yeah, most definitely makes our top 10. But right now, when you look at the prime of his career, he dominated, but he really didn't fight anybody, folks. He didn't really fight anybody that had any kind of mustard on that hot dog. He didn't fight anybody. He didn't fight anybody that could put ketchup on a burrito. So, we're going to wrap up another episode here at the Mix Report. Hope you enjoyed our discussion on whether Mike Tyson was overrated or was he the GOAT. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Get in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Share with friends. What's your top 6? Give us your top 6 greatest boxers of all time and who you felt was overrated. And as always, folks, you're tuning in to the Mix Report. And as always, you just got mixed.
Live from Houston, Texas. Got Mix News presents The Mix Report, the podcast where you can stay in the mix with sports and entertainment news.